Okay, ladies, this is step 8, above and beyond. Let me write this at the very top here. So for step 8, we had adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. And so what we're going to do is for above and beyond, we're going to start looking at how do we divide using monomials. And this is actually going to lead us into our step 9 as well, because we are going to see a similarity between how do we simplify within division and working with just dividing just by a binomial. So we're just going to jump into kind of examples and kind of show through what we can do. So when we look at, if this case we have a monomial divided by a monomial, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our coefficients first. Now, looking at the coefficients, I have 2 over this one. There's no coefficient there, so we're going to assume it to be a 1. And I want to think to myself, can I simplify just my coefficients? If I had a fraction just by itself of 2 over 1, would I be able to simplify it? And the answer is no. So in that case, we cannot do anything, and we cannot cancel out, or what I mean by canceling out is we are dividing out to 1 in that section. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just look at our r's. And we have r to the 4th over r to the 4th. And just looking at this, one way that we can think about this is taking r times r times r times r over r times r times r times r. When we do that, we can then be able to divide out to 1 because these are being multiplied. And so we can then be able to divide as that inverse operation. So if I have r divided by r, that is going to cancel out, or aka divide out to 1. And 1 would also be on the bottom there too. And as you can see, I can repeat that process, and all of these r's will get simplified out to 1. So my final answer, if I have 2r to the 4th divided by r to the 4th, this would be simplified. Our 4ths get simplified out. We just get 2 over 1. And that right there would be our quotient. So let's look at number 2 here, and let's kind of do the same thing. We look at first, and you can even just kind of look at this as 3 over 1. And then on the top, we have v4 over v3. So we look at our coefficients first. We notice if I had a fraction 3 over 1, I wouldn't be able to simplify. But when it comes to my v's, I could rewrite this as v times v times v times v over v times v times v. And I can see, okay, what can I cancel out? These can cancel out, then the next pair, and what I get left with is 1v in the numerator. So I can kind of go back here and I can do, okay, v3 gets canceled to 1, and this makes it where it's just 1v left over. Well, if we multiply across here, our answer gets simplified to 3v over 1. Let's scroll down to one that might be a little bit larger, and let's see if we can simplify this one. So I'm going to first look just at my coefficients, then I'm going to look just at my h's, just at my j's, and just at my k's. And the way I can be able to do this is all being multiplied. 15's being multiplied by h, and j's are being multiplied by k's, and so forth. So that's why I'm setting this up as our coefficients, our h's, our j's, and our k's. And I'm going to just try to simplify. If I had a fraction over 15 over 10, I notice 5 can go into both. So 5 can go into 15 3 times, and 5 can go into 10 2 times. My h's, as a reminder, you could kind of write this, you can write them like h times h times h over h times h. You cancel those out, and we get left with 1h on top, giving us just 1h. You know what, let me change that to pink. And then when we look at our j's, we do the same thing, which I notice then the 6 on the bottom would be canceled out, and I would get 4 left over on the top. And we do the same thing with our k's. Now next step, we're officially going to be learning how do you simplify these in an easier way. Instead of having to write them all out and canceling, we are just going to be actually subtracting from the numerator denominator, and that will make more sense in step 9. So the last thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to look at all the things that are above my division sign, and I'm going to multiply them 3 times each. And then we're going to j to the 4th, k to the 5th, and then what do we have left on the bottom? Just a 2. And that right there would be our simplified answer. So let's go down where we're dividing when now we all of a sudden have a polynomial. How would we even approach that? So we're going to look here, and we have a binomial being divided by a monomial. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to set up 2 different fractions. I'm going to set up the first one to be this, because both parts need to be divided by our monomial. Then my next one, because it's a plus sign, we'll put a plus sign there. And we're going to divide them by this, 18n squared over 2n squared. And just like we did above, we're going to kind of just simplify now 2 different fractions. If I look at negative 8 divided by 2, I just want to look at my coefficients. 2 can go into 2 one time, and 2 can go into negative 8, negative 4 times. Once again, it's a fraction, and we're going to simplify it. Then when I think of my n's, I have 2 on the bottom, 3 on top. This simplifies out to 1, and this would just be 1 n left over. So that part of the fraction would simplify down to negative 4n. Let's look at that next term. 2 and 18 over 2, I know I can simplify this fraction. So 2 goes into this 1 time, 2 goes into 18 9 times. And then if I look, my n squared over n squared simplifies out. We can do then just plus what we have left is 9 over 1, which is just 9. Looking at my final answer, I ask myself, can I simplify? Can I combine like terms? And I can't. So that there is our simplified answer. So for the rest of this worksheet, there are 16 questions. And as you can see, it gets a little bit more challenging from here. I want you to attempt it and try it. If you have any questions, please feel free to come up and ask. And we can continue to go through of like, well, how can we continue to simplify? You will notice that this then will also help you and lead you into step 9.